Creative Magic Club. What's up? This is Sarah Mack and welcome to Creative Magic Club. Together we'll discover inspirational stories of creative entrepreneurs living out their dreams, doing the work they are most passionate about, and building wealth in magical and fun ways. While building a six-figure income as a writer and coach, helping other women to launch their dream businesses, I've connected with so many incredible people and seen it proven again and again that you can thrive financially doing whatever it is you are passionate about. I'm here to share life-changing strategies for mindset, making money, and reaching more people with your work in a business and life filled with creativity, freedom, and fun. Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode. I'm so excited to introduce my guest today, Cheyenne Sapphire, who is the Creatrix, who initiates souls in their cosmic rebirth. Her offerings of Kundalini Activation ceremonies, Tantric dance, and Sensual Renaissance mentorships for women include elements of womb shamanism, priestess mysteries, Tantra, yoga, dance, and reiki, resulting in goddesses standing fully empowered, pure erotic innocence. As a Magdalene Rose Priestess, she channels prayers of the divine, poetry, dance, song, and ritual, which she shares in her prayerformances and videos around the world. Cheyenne, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much as well. It's an honor to be here and to connect with you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm super excited for our conversation, and I would love it to kick it off with you telling us a little bit about your journey. What was that main turning point that really led you to doing this work that you're doing today?
Absolutely. Well, my whole life I've been very spiritual. I grew up in a very liberal household. My mom was a hippie, learned about goddess movements and everything for a long time. And I've been dancing my whole life, making music, writing. I've just been really immersed in the arts and spirituality my whole life. And then after university, I went through a really dark time in my life where I was depressed. I was feeling like I have scoliosis, so I couldn't dance. I couldn't move a lot. I was just couldn't work. I had no money. I was just really in it. And I started practicing blindfolded movement, and I was really facing my shadows, and I was just going into the void, like complete blackness. I'd be in a blindfold for hours and would just start moving, start listening to myself, to my higher self, connecting with my inner child. I was, I started hearing things, and I just started doing a lot of tantric practices without knowing they were tantric. And then I started studying tantra, reading books, doing some courses, studying with mentors. And then I had a Kundalini awakening. And since then, my whole life has really shifted, started seeing things, downloading information from different spirits and different realms. And that's kind of how I started on this journey.
Amazing. Talk to me a little bit about your Kundalini awakening. Like, how did that unfold for you?
Yeah. I was on a solo road trip in Joshua Tree in California. Have you been?
No, I haven't, but I'm going to California in a couple of weeks. And
okay.
I'll actually be going.
Yeah, definitely go. It's amazing. It's so powerful, very ancient medicine. And I went when I was hiking alone one day, and then I decided to do a little ceremony, and I do work with plant medicine. So I was doing a small plant medicine ceremony alone. And then I just started channeling. I started channeling Isis. I started speaking to, Mary Magdalene came through me, my spirit animal is the Black Panther. And it was coming through very strongly, where it takes over my whole body and then it would release. And essentially I was walking, having this insane journey, connecting with past lives and my ancestral wounds, and noticing the different layers and threads throughout different lives and myself and my family. And then I went for a walk, and I saw this quartz vein in the rock, and I stood over it and literally dropped to the ground, and then the Kundalini came through. So it's like a lightning bolt coming through you. And I was having full body orgasms that lasted 40 minutes. It just went on and on. My body was shaking, convulsing, moaning, yelling. It just completely cleared through my chakras.
That's incredible. What an amazing story. And so what was it must have been like night and day for you in terms of like before and after. What were some of the main things that changed in your life after experiencing that?
Yeah, it was really before and after, but it was also scary. I felt I definitely was contracting a lot. When you have these massive spiritual expansions, a lot of the time we're still in the human 3D body, right? So we get scared and we contract, right? Or it's like anything in life. If you do I don't know, massive goal and then you get nervous, like, is this real? And then you get scared, right? And so I honestly resisted it for a while, like for months. Like I would be like, no, 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 this is crazy. I'm going nuts. I don't want to, I'd just be really, I was like, I'm going to just keep going to work. I'm going to stay grounded in the physical, but then things just kept happening, like I'd just be seated, not trying to do anything. All the things too, like that happened to me, I was never intending for anything to happen. Like I wasn't someone who was like reading up on Kundalini all the time and wanting to have these experiences. It just happened. And they kept happening, like a past life regression, or I'd be seated, close my eyes, and a vision would come through, or I'd be talking to other spirits. And then I just thought, okay, I gotta surrender to this, and I've built a community of people who also have been going through this. And I live in this temple of Isis with other tantricas and priestesses in this house. And we help each other through our awakenings and initiations, essentially. But it was weird.
That's amazing. And so how did you start to translate that into the work that you're doing with your clients?
Mm-hmm. Well, with my roommates, we started doing ceremonies together, plant medicine ceremonies, and then we would do sessions on each other. We'd just literally practice and we'd teach each other and we'd learn, and these learnings would come through from my higher self, from different beings, etc. And I started to think about, like, a lot of spiritual teachings are very esoteric and very theoretical. And I thought, okay, we need to bring this into the body, knowing how challenging my experience was of grounding while having these expansions. I thought, okay, what can we need to still be in the 3D, we need to ground. I don't want to be this airy fairy, like not out of this world person, So I developed tantric dance, and that fused the two together, and it enables one to, still participate in normal activities and still lead the life that they're going through in a grounded way by bringing in the spiritual into the body. And so then I did workshops on that, and then I created an online course.
Amazing. So you're really using these physical practices that you've developed to help, like, the embodiment
Exactly.
of the, like the spiritual cultivation work that's been happening.
Yeah, embodiment is exactly the word, because it's really important. Like we read books or we do meditations, or a lot of these practices are very masculine in terms of like austerity, or I'm going to go to Vipassana, I'm not going to do this for this time, or I'm going to cleanse, or I'm going to do this. It's like, okay, but like, where is the feminine side of that? That's in the body, that's in sensuality, that's the earth, that's the abundance, So yeah, bring in those elements.
I love that. And yeah, a lot of, like self-development work and mindset work obviously is like mind focused and writing affirmations and writing and
Exactly.
learning, consuming information, like you say. And I think, for me, that's definitely been a journey of like recognizing, like, we are really powerful in the mind and we can create so much from there. But like when you're not bringing it down and embodying it, like your power only goes so far, and you will still come up against, like unconscious resistance will still be a really big thing for you. And you're only able to exert your power when you're focused on it. But I feel it's like that process of bringing it down into the body and really embodying it, and having tools and practices to do that, which is where you start to really live the things that you've kind of decided on. So I love that you're talking about this. And I think that, embodiment is something that I've only, really started to hear about and learn about fairly recently, but I've been doing mindset work for several years now. And so talk to me a little bit about like how, you've developed these practices and how they embody a more, feminine approach to self-realization.
Mm-hmm. Everything you said, totally. I'm on par with and agreeing with as well. And it's so right, because a lot of the time we do like study these other things first. But with tantric dance, I've been a dancer my whole life. I've been performing for years, and so I in dance, and a lot of the time through my blindfolded dance practices, when you really let go, and because no one's watching you, and so you let go of what society tells you should be doing, of even what is correct, what is wrong. Like you can go, you just go to the limits of your consciousness and of your body in so many different ways. And when you do that, it's like you're stretching an elastic, right? You're creating more neurons in your brain, which expands your consciousness. And so what I've done, like in the course that I do, we do blindfold movement, but it's not just that. We do practices that help you create that stretch of the elastic without needing to close your eyes. And that's through building confidence. That's through empowerment. That's through making strange sounds that actually help you have more pleasure in your life, which the patriarchy, in which colonialism, which the world doesn't want us to do, because then we are depressed and we're buying pharmaceuticals and we're going to jobs we don't like, as opposed to living in orgasmic pleasure, which is our birthright. And we can create the reality that we want, which means going against the system that they want to use to oppress us.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And I'm even thinking, like, when you take away your vision, it's like you're almost taking away that self-judgment, because you're no longer thinking about how you appear to the outside world, which is like, the number one human fear is like, people are going to judge me, people are going to reject me, I'm not going to be good enough, I'm not going to appear as if I have everything together, and this like illusion of perfection that really like is just a prison.
And it continues, like even as someone who's trained as a dancer, someone recently said, well, it must be easy for you because you're good at dancing. And I thought, no, I think it's harder because I should be good. So it's like, then it's like, and I still have to check myself, like even as I'm doing these courses and teaching people, I'm like, damn, like where is my like ego coming in, or my fear coming in about being good enough, when the whole point of this is that you are good enough in every single moment, because you literally are God. You are the divine having a human experience. And that is what I teach women, men, everyone. It's like the main thing is we are the divine, just trying out human bodies. It's not the opposite way around. We're not channeling God. We're not, when we're in flow state, oh, I've reached this. No. You are that. You're always that, in thick and thin, in the roughest times.
I love that. And I really resonate with what you said, because my background is as a dancer as well. And I trained in ballet from, the age of 3, which is a discipline, which is like, you have to be perfect. And like every angle has to be perfect. And, and like the teacher will come around and like poke you and tweak you.
Yeah.
So that perfectionism is just like drilled in. And, and then I kind of got like lost interest in ballet after a while and got really interested in other dance styles. And I was dancing in like raves and clubs and festivals for years and years and years, but I never really saw that as like a skill or like as something that was valuable, because it was not like in a classroom. It wasn't like being graded, but I was like, that's actually at the core of who I am, is just a dancer, and being able to have that freedom and express myself. Isn't it crazy? Like it took me a while before I realized like, oh, I can still call myself I didn't, I was like, oh, I quit dancing. I was like in that story in my head. I was like, no, I was dancing for like a decade. I just wasn't in the classroom. And it just goes to show how deep that conditioning is of, especially just growing up in the classroom and being like, if it's not validated by somebody else or by a system, then it's like worthless, right?
Exactly. And I did ballet too, and it's so intense and it's so rigid as well. And it's like, it's like we're dying to just break free of that, of like not needing validation. Like it's like our inner children are screaming like, please just love me like when I just do this, and I just got massive chills when you were explaining that, because I get it too. And I know even at raves too, sometimes I would like, in early years, I'd be scared sometimes to even dance in front of my friends. Like when you'd go into the middle of the circle, because I'd think, well, I'm supposed to be, I'm not good. And it's just like, I just want to release. Like let the endorphins, let that energy move throughout your body. Like stop. Like we don't need that pressure anymore,
Yeah, I think dance is just so powerful for shifting energy and for allowing things to move through you. And I particularly, it's something that I have to actively, cultivate in my life now, because I'm not like partying every night like I used to be.
Right. Yeah.
But, and we tend to like, I think as you get older, or you get into certain types of work, like for me, obviously I'm a writer, so I'm working on my laptop a lot. It's very physically static. And I think the big turning point for me was like when I recognized like, oh, I'm not moving as much as I used to, particularly because I was working from home. So I didn't have to like commute or walk or anything like that.
Right.
And really actively bringing and intentionally bringing movement into my day as a non-negotiable, because it's like the difference between how I feel is like here and here.
Yes.
And yeah, and I just dance, everybody can dance, right? And it really is like that process of stepping into releasing, being self-conscious, releasing what other people think about you or how you look, and really just tuning into how it feels and doing what feels good to you.
Exactly. Something my boyfriend used to say to me is like, if I was in a bad mood, and he'd literally, like, before we even got deep into conversation, would say, "Have you danced today?" And I'd go, "Fuck, no." And he'd be like, "I think you should." Like, literally, like, please go dance. That whole chat. I was like, true. Like, honestly, like, I hate that, but like, very true. Yeah. And so with tantric dance, we add tantric practices and sacred sexuality into it by using our Kundalini energy and raising it through our chakras to clear them of the debris and the shit from old trauma, from past lives, from everyday, microaggressions, to the stress of the world in 2020, And so, yeah.
Amazing. I love it. And so, like, what is, the main message on your heart that you really wish more people knew and understood?
I think it's like what I said earlier of you are the divine having human experience, and to just bring that in as much as you can, throughout the day before you go to bed, and just like forgive yourself. You're human. It's difficult. The human experience is challenging, but we are of light realms. Like, that is our essence, and we're just having human experience.
I love it. And tell me a little bit about what's the word you use for performances? Like
Prayerformance.
Prayerformance. Yeah. Tell me about what you're doing with that.
Cool. So I combine poetry, dance, music, and I'm making my own beats as well into what I call a prayerformance, because they are all messages that come to me. Like I channel them, they come through very quickly. I get into flow state and I write them. So far, I'm not going to say never, but so far I haven't sat down one day and thought I need to create a piece. Like, that's just not how it works. It just comes through, and then I listen and do, and how I got into poetry, though, is because I mentioned earlier, like, I have scoliosis. And so I actually also wasn't able to pursue dance in the way that I wanted, in terms of, being in a dance company in New York. And so I thought, like, I went through massive pain, anxiety, depression about that. But then I thought, okay, well, performing, to me, it gives me so much life. So how can I do this? And so I started writing. And so I got into poetry, and then I used to sing when I was younger. So I thought, okay, I'm going to add some music in there, but I never thought I was a singer. I would never call myself a writer. And I just like used what I got, like, I just thought, okay, I've got to find a way to do this, because I love it. And one of my greatest pleasures in life, like the most, is when I'm on stage and I'm performing and I see someone viewing me, and they like get a spark of what I'm doing, and then they dance more free, or they get into themselves more free. Like, they're feeling themselves so hard because they see me doing it. And that is the greatest pleasure. Like, I just love it when people feel that they too can express however they want, or be whoever they want to be in that moment. That's like magic to me.
Oh, amazing. I love it. And yeah, when I discovered your Instagram, I was on there for like hours, just like your content. It's like incredible. Everybody go check her out. So for people who are like, I need more, tell me more, and I want to work with you, like where can people find you?
Sure. So you can find me on Instagram at Cheyenne Sapphire, but it's like, there's like tons of doubles in the name. It's like Cheyenne, you'll write it in this, Cheyenne Sapphire, but there's lots of like double letters in there. Also CheyenneSapphire.com. So I have an upcoming course, the Tantric dance course. It's beginner friendly, and that starts on November 9th with a collective of incredible women identified beings from around the world. And then I also do Creatrix Renaissance mentorships, where I can show you how to step into the divine role of the creatrix. And in that, I incorporate womb shamanism, creative expression, tantra, tantric dance, etc. I won't be launching that until about December, but in the meantime, I've got the course coming up.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your magic with us today. And thank you everybody for watching.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun talking to you. I'm excited to connect more as we grow.
Yes, me too. Okay, bye everyone. For more inspirational content, head over to my website withsarahmac.com and please support the show by liking, commenting, and subscribing.